Newsom announced, right? It was Newsom who did the announcement that you're no longer going to be able to buy a gas vehicle in California in 2035. Did I get that fact correct?
A new gas vehicle
New.
in 2035.
Okay. So at the same time, now you all are getting warnings about electricity issues, right?
Oh yeah, we're in day 10 of flex alerts, and you're not supposed to charge your electric vehicle. That you will be mandated, to buy a new one at some point. You're supposed to turn your air conditioning to 78. They're warning you about large appliances. They're warning you to not charge your personal devices. So they're so concerned about the draw on the system of your iPhone plugged into the wall that they want to dump an additional, 10, 20 million electric vehicles onto our grid that hasn't been updated in decades. It's all just for show, and especially 2035, Newsom's going to be far, gone at that point, either, beyond governor or president, or hopefully he's unemployed at home at that point. But he can just make these big grandiose claims right now that will have no effect on him, except he looks good to the green community. Look at all that I'm doing. Where now he's kind of turning around and going, hey, maybe we shouldn't be shutting off those nuclear plants. We are going to have to figure out a way to generate the energy that we're going to be demanding, even though we're demanding now.
Okay, I want to play this video that I got pulled up here. You write, if you don't like the 80 cents we saved you on gas after jacking up the price by more than $2 a gallon, just spend $45,000 on an electric vehicle. Easy peasy. Elitist trash person that hates you. Okay, so let's see what happens.
Or, we also were able to make it cheaper to get an electric vehicle if you want to save money on gas. Or, we also were able to make it cheaper to get an electric vehicle if you want to save money on gas. Or
okay, so right, this is Pete Buttigieg. So we're all about this in California, and Washington State, honestly, is all about this, like, we're going to save you money. We're going to give you all these incentives. It's going to be great. And yet in Washington, I believe we're still missing the proposed climate goals from like years ago. I think, for all the things that our governor has pushed through, they keep saying they just need more time. Is that what they're saying in California? We just need more time. Like they throw you these incentives. It's like, it's going to be great. These are our goals. And they miss it. And then they go, yeah, it was just because we just haven't had enough time. We just need more time. And I'm just curious what's going on there. How do people explain it?
In California, we substitute time for money. So that was the big thing. It's like, okay, we're in the middle of, a day, we're in day 5 of our flex alert. And they say, oh, well, don't worry. We just, passed a new bill. $14 billion is going to new energy. And they treat that like that's going to come tomorrow. It's like, oh, well, good. Then we shouldn't have a flex alert tomorrow, right? No, this is a decade down the line. We spend money and it's all, it's all smoke and mirrors. Well, our money goes away and then we get no return on it. It's the worst magic trick ever, but they successfully pull it off again and again and again.
I'm pulling up this was an article that I think you retweeted from CBS Los Angeles. So they're saying that for a 9th straight day, Californians are being asked to conserve power tonight, this time starting at 3 p.m. and all the way through 10 p.m. Are they questioning Newsom and this electric vehicle push at this point, or is it just people like you on Twitter?
It's the vast majority is us on Twitter. There was one guy, Alex Michelson, for Fox LA, the local affiliate, who asked if the grid would be ready by 2035, and Newsom said yes. That's about the biggest push. That's about the biggest follow-up you're going to get.
If you live in California, you and I both know you need a drink at this point in time. So that's why you should go to AllisonWinePromo.com and get 50% off of some of my favorite Malbecs from Argentina. They're from very remote regions, some from very high altitude vineyards. You get 50% off the wine itself and 50% off shipping. These are wines that I drink myself when I'm not full of a bowling ball baby about to give birth in a couple of weeks. So cheers to the new producer in my honor. Help the college fund. Go to AllisonWinePromo.com. Again, if you're already a wine drinker or if you're in California and you're thinking about picking up drinking, go support my work and get to AllisonWinePromo.com. But maybe you're moving out of California and you got a long drive ahead of you in the U-Haul. That means you need a stiff cup of coffee, which is why you should go to TwinEngineCoffee.com/Allison and choose from one of many high-altitude USDA-certified organic roasts from Nicaragua. There are light roasts, there's dark roasts, there's a limited black edition, which is very good. There's also a Caturra tea. If you're a tea drinker, this is the tea that you brew from the fruit that goes around the coffee bean. It's really good. It tastes a lot like black tea. I've said before I am making kombucha out of mine, so you don't have to just stop at tea. There are many recipes out there for it. I like to cold brew mine, but you can hot brew it as well. Add a little bit of lemon juice and some monk fruit sweetener. It's very good. Wherever you live, whatever you're drinking, thank you for supporting my sponsors. They do keep me in business. Let's keep on with the video. Yeah, the whole outsider not taking people seriously thing in the media is so weird to me because that was one of the best parts about being a journalist when I first got into the business was that you got paid to go talk to the folks that nobody else wanted to talk to or were the dissenters that had some kind of different idea. And it was interesting to listen to them and to hear how they thought through things instead of what I see nowadays, which is like we're the paid Gestapo for censorship. We have to figure out who the outsider is and then somehow throw tomatoes their way for the public to signal to them that you shouldn't take this person seriously. And we're here to protect you and prop up the safer voices. And it's such a weird phenomenon, but it's definitely there. I see it. And I think journalists, like I said, I think they think they're keeping the public safe in some regard. And who cares? Like, even if you didn't have a chance, like, let's just say, there wasn't like a shot in hell that you were going to win, but part of that's the media coverage issue. But let's just say even without that, I mean, it still seems like you would want to know the critiques from your perspective to help you be a better journalist with the frontrunner candidate. I mean, why wouldn't you want to know the critiques of the frontrunner so that you could give them a better run for their money, I guess, when it comes to just giving the public, I guess, better information instead of just running a marketing scheme for them.
Yeah. NPR, National Public Radio, which we all fund, who, if you Google NPR and get money out of politics, you're going to come up with 1,000 articles where they rally, where they rail against all of this money and how it's wrecking politics. The program director of our local NPR station sent an email to a candidate very similar to me who was running in district number 3, but an outsider candidate, and said that we're not going to cover you unless you raise $5,000 or $50,000, are polling at least 5%, which there were no polls done in any of our races, and are deemed a credible candidate. So, the people who want money out wanted to make sure that you raised plenty of money, and they themselves deemed if you were credible or worthy of their coverage. It seems the exact opposite of informing the electorate, which, kind of feels like their job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's totally weird. I'm trying to bring up this article. Sorry, I'm leaving you on the screen there. I'm trying to bring up this article I had before, just because before I switch you over to how you all are going to start going after doctors for misinformation, I wanted to draw attention. So Todd Myers here works for the Washington Policy Center. They're a right-leaning public policy think tank, probably the only one in Washington.
Sure.
And he wrote this in December of last year, that the governor's new climate proposals, more money, but no environmental benefit, talking about how every policy from subsidizing solar panels to subsidizing electric vehicles duplicates an existing policy. They're expensive, but add nothing. Additionally, the creation of a new office to ensure accountability for CO2 reductions is ironic, given that the existing program to do that results Washington scrubbed the metrics from their webpage when the targets were missed in 2019 and have not replaced them. So, yeah, I mean, but what's fascinating is that I know Todd, and I know that like when he goes to testify sometimes in, Olympia, he gets chased to his car by people who just think he doesn't care about the environment. And that's how it is if you come out against a lot of these policies. It's just like the way that the story has been told. Unfortunately, I think a lot of this is the responsibility of my old industry. We set up this dichotomy that you either like the policies and thereby care about the environment, or you don't like the policies and you just want to crap all over Mother Nature. And I think the same thing happened with COVID. Like, you just didn't care about grandma if you were questioning these public policies in places like California, and wouldn't go get the shot or whatever else. Like, you just weren't a team player. You didn't care about society. You hate people. You're a Neanderthal, whatever. And it's just I do blame my industry for that, for those narratives and for the reactions that people have towards just thinking that you just don't care. Because I would wager that you probably care about the environment. You just don't think these policies work.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't know if you know the reason behind the straw ban in California. The single-use
You get the
plastic
plastic
straws.
straw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there was one picture of a sea turtle with a straw stuck in its nose. That was it. Within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, straws were banned in the state because it felt good.
Fast, since you're saying that, tell me real fast then, the amount of masks I see when I go hiking nowadays, I see in the water or I see on the trails, but nobody cares about that.
No, without question, yeah. There is so much litter. I mean, the trails are one thing. Just walk out of a Target or a department store, and there's just masks all over the place. Just all over the floor. They just get thrown around, and it's trash. These are the people who would claim to fight the strongest for the environment, and they don't care. And then unfortunately I see masks not only on the floor, but I was at the beach with my family, and these two kayakers go by and they have masks on. There's not anyone within 50 feet of them. They're in the middle of the bay. And I'm like, you're doing damage to yourself at this point. This isn't for anyone. You're literally harming yourself. And California did all of that. They poisoned people mentally and physically.
I cut you off when you're talking about the turtle. Did you want to finish? Sorry, I didn't mean
Oh
to.
no! I mean, that's it feels good, and that's all we need for a policy. It feels good to save the turtles. You want to drink out of a straw? Are you a monster? Because every straw that you throw in the trash goes right into a turtle's nose, and that's how all of these things are pushed through. And if not to double back to homelessness, but if we cared the one fraction of a bit as much of the suffering people on our sidewalks as we did this turtle with a straw in his nose, we could really do some good for this city, but in the state. But it's all just this feel good nonsense that people jump on board with. And like you said, if you're not on board, you're the exact opposite. You're a turtle hater. You're a grandma killer. You want to dump oil on birds of the ocean. That's the only way we see things here.